In this video, I'm going to talk about the 5 ways to fix the Oscars. And this is coming from someone who absolutely loves the Oscars. It's a celebration of films and filmmaking and is one of my favorite nights of the year. Now, without wasting any of your time, because I know many of you would rather curl into your bedrooms fantasizing about things you wish no one knew, let's start with number 5. Number 5. The host. People often complain about the show being too long or there being too many categories, but like movies, I don't think the length is the issue here. The issue is more with how you feel during that runtime. The ceremony feels stretched. The Oscars need to bring back the fun, and that begins with choosing the right host. Jimmy Kimmel was not bad, but you have to do better than not bad for one of the biggest nights of the year. A good host should be engaging, funny, and yes, willing to roast the stars. I know it is a celebration of filmmakers, but a little laugh hurt no one. But for some reason, everyone gets hurt these days. Comedy can be clean and safe, but in my opinion, comedy works best when everyone is having fun at each other's expenses. So yes, make the Oscars fun again. The audiences love the spectacle. It can be 4 hours, but it needs to be fun. I have high hopes for Conan, but let's see if he goes all out. Number 4. Voter Amnesia and Release Dates. I am convinced that the Academy members suffer from a bad case of short-term memory loss. Movies released earlier in the year are often forgotten by the time award season rolls around. Also, the whole concept of Oscar campaigns is just dumb. Some movies get millions of dollars to campaign while others get close to none. Of course, campaigning is key, but I really think as filmmakers, one should be able to honor the deserving ones, irrespective of when the movie came out, the campaigns and all that bullshit. This is similar to another point that I will bring up later in the video. Number 3. Move to streaming. The film industry is changing, hell the world is changing, and the Oscars need to catch up. Last year and even this year, we had the SAG Awards on Netflix and it was fucking great. No ads, there were interviews between the breaks to let the winners speak for more than a minute, and yes, swearing, I mean it is a win-win. Even WWE moved to Netflix and it was huge. We of course had the Mike Tyson Paul match that broke the internet. Well, the match was broken as well. But the point is that the Oscars need streaming, and I think it's only a matter of time. I'm scratching my head as to why it's not already here, but let's hope it happens in the next 2 to 3 years. Number 2. Genre snubs and Oscar baits. The Academy has an infamous track record of snubbing entire genres. Comedy, horror, and often science fiction get left out in the cold. But why? Because they don't fit the traditional Oscar-worthy mold. Meanwhile, films that are practically engineered to win the Oscars, the so-called Oscar bait, continue to dominate. I remember when Maestro came out last year, everyone called it Oscar bait. While I don't necessarily believe that, I get what everyone is trying to say. There were definitely many much more better movies than Maestro that deserved to get in last year. It's time for the Oscars to acknowledge that brilliance exists across all genres, not just in heavy dramas or historical epics. An indie horror movie should be able to get in. There is no reason why Toni Collette was not nominated for Hereditary, and hell, why was Hereditary not nominated for Best Picture as well? And how does Dune Part 2 not get a Best Screenplay nomination, or Top Gun Maverick or Wicked don't get a Best Director nomination? Which brings me to my final point. Number 1. Blockbuster Bias. Finally, let's face it, the Oscars have a clear bias against blockbusters. You may point out that Oppenheimer was a blockbuster, but Oppenheimer is not the rule. It's the exception. It's a Chris Nolan movie. Every year we see critically acclaimed big budget movies get sidelined in favor of smaller arty films. Sure, those indie films are great, but why should massive box office hits with incredible storytelling and performances be ignored? The Oscars need to broaden their horizons and start appreciating the impact and artistry of blockbuster films. Nowadays, we do get some popular movies in the Best Picture category, but we also need to recognize the acting in these epic movies and the screenplay as well. Not only are you ignoring these movies, but you are also disconnecting yourself to the general public. And for what? Protecting smaller movies? Trust me, merit always wins. And usually the smaller movies pull off the wins. Top Gun Maverick did not win any major Oscars, which is insane. And yes, it was facing everything everywhere all at once, but still, it's not all bad. The Oscars have at least started to embrace more diverse films like The Substance or even Everything Everywhere all at once. But with Emilia Perez, Hollywood proved that it still wants to prove a point. It still wants to make a point. And I said it a million times. I like Emilia Perez, but it's not an Oscar level movie. And that's it. Those are my top ways to fix the Oscars. Let me know in case you have any more thoughts. And like always, many thanks for watching.